U.S. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger, in a new interview with the Associated Press, says, quote, "We have never had the level of threats against members of Congress that we're seeing today. Clearly, we've got a bigger job in terms of the protection aspect of our responsibilities." Manger predicted in the interview that authorities could respond to some 9,000 threats to members of Congress by the end of this year. He told Wolf in August that the number could be even higher.
We typically, just a couple of years ago, had around 6,000 or 7,000. This year, I think we'll be up close to 10,000 threats that we're investigating.
The reasons for the rise in threats are varied. Domestic extremists have been buoyed by the attack on the Capitol on January 6th, by false claims of fraud in the 2020 election, by former President Donald Trump's incendiary rhetoric.
We did win this election.
But the ability of those who would do harm to find members of Congress has also changed.
Remember, your members of Congress are elected, all the time. So they're always out on the campaign. They need to be known. They want to be known. People know who they are just by sight. They know where they live.
Democratic Congresswoman Norma Torres found that out in a frightening way. This summer, after she had a political dispute over Twitter with the president of El Salvador, she says she received multiple threats, then an anonymous video, a man's voice narrating it.
He stated that he was following me, and he panned out to a blue vehicle, which I had. I owned a blue SUV. And he said that he was following me, and then panned down to his gun and said that he had something for me.
How frightened are you, though, still, of all this?
I sold my car. I just could not drive that car.
Republican Congressman Tom Reed says someone left a dead rat and a brick on his doorstep, along with a family member's name. The Capitol Police don't have the resources for every member of Congress to get their own security detail in their home districts, so it's up to many of them to protect themselves. After that video incident, Congresswoman Torres says gang members cased her home in California and once tried to bait her husband out onto the street. So she retrieved a gun from their home and scared them off.
I went in and armed myself. I thought that they were going to come in and hurt, not just my husband, but myself. So I'm going to do whatever I need to do to protect myself and my family.
Congresswoman Torres says after those incidents, Capitol Police did come to her home in California and guarded it for about a week, but she says they cannot provide constant security for her, and she doesn't want to hire her own security detail. And she says the threats have now followed her to Washington, so she recently moved out of her basement apartment here in D.C. to a more secure building.